Notation is what we're going to talk about in this video. We already have talked about sets before, and we know that sets can be designated with these squiggly brackets. And so if I have a name for a set, maybe I'm not talking about something so big as the natural numbers or the rational numbers, but maybe I have the set of numbers 1, 2, 3, 5, 7. And I'm going to give that set the name A. And maybe set B is the set of numbers 2, 4, 6, and 8. If I see this symbol on my paper, that symbol means is an element of. Or what I will more informally say sometimes is belongs to. Now, the correct way to use this symbol is that we could say 3 is an element of the set A. Or 3 belongs to A, because if I come up here to A and I look at the list of numbers that are there, I see that the number 3 is definitely there on the list. Now, if I wrote 3 belongs to B, or 3 is an element of B, that would obviously be a false statement, because when I look at B, B is not on the list. Okay, but the nice thing about symbols in mathematics is if I want to negate them, or I want to mean the opposite, I can just draw a line through that symbol. Okay, so you've probably seen a line through an equal sign before to mean not equal to. If I draw a line through belongs to, then that means doesn't belong to. Okay, or is not an element of. I need one more set up here, so let's let C be the set of numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and instead of C, I'm going to change my mind and I'm going to call it U. Not that the name is important to us at this time. If I see this symbol here like this, so I don't know, it's not really a C. If you look in your book, you can see what it's supposed to look like, but this tablet's really hard to draw on. Okay, what this symbol means is a subset of. Okay. When we talk about a subset, that means we're talking about a set that is a piece of a bigger set. So for example, we could say A is a subset of U, because the entire set A, if I look at it as an entire package, 1, 2, 3, 5, and 7, all of those numbers, that entire set falls within the set of U. I could also say that B is a subset of U. Now, just like we did here with our belongs to, if I wanted to say A is a subset of B, and I start comparing and I look and say, well, they have some things in common, but most definitely all of A is not in B, I would say A is not a subset of B. I can make that the opposite of its meaning by drawing a line through it. Okay. Now, it is wrong to, and some students, and your author likes to do this and test you on your attention to detail in the exercises. It will say things like 3 is a subset of A. Okay. Okay. This is not a true statement. 3 is not a set. 3 is an element. Okay. 3 is an element of A would be the correct notation here. Okay. It would not be true to say 3 is a subset. Maybe I'll just do my big eraser out. Okay, that's not a true statement. Now, some other symbols that we have, copy these guys. going to be a symbol that looks like a U and a symbol that looks like a U that's flipped upside down. The one that looks like the U is what we call the union symbol. Union, if you think about what the word union means in English, it means we're joining something together. When we get a little bit farther down the road and we are working with our union symbols, it will go along with the word or if we're in a compound inequality situation or something like that. Okay. When we join two sets together, if I say I want to find the union of A and B, that means I'm going to think about dumping all of these numbers in a pile. I'm going to sort them on out, and then I'm going to write down what I have. So it looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you can write the numbers down in any order. You can write 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 4, 6, 8 if you'd like. My OCD makes me want to put them in order, but as long as you have everything written down one time, then that's correct. Notice that there are, actually 2 is the only number that they have in common, but I didn't write the number 2 twice. I don't say 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, if there's something shared, something in common, we only write it down one time. If I flip the symbol upside down, that's our intersection. Intersection goes along with the word and. If you think about two things that intersect, two lines, two streets, that's where they come in contact with each other, where they overlap, what they have in common. So if we want to find A intersect B, then we're going to write down all of the elements that are in both A and B at the same time. Again, if we start comparing and looking at those lists, the number 2 is the only number that they have in common. Let's go ahead and add one more set up here. We'll call it C. And let's let C be the numbers 8, 9, and 10. If I ask you to find A intersect C and B intersect C, and the intersection is writing down everything they have in common. So I guess since I started here, we're going to start there. If we look at 2, 4, 6, and 8, which is B, the elements of C are 8, 9, and 10. It looks like 8 is the only number they have in common. Now, if we compare the lists of A and C, notice that there are no elements in common. The symbol that we use to indicate that they have nothing in common is, we either call this the empty set or we call it the null set, and it means the set with nothing in it, or a set that's empty. There's no elements there. Your author says you can also use just empty brackets there for the empty set, and that's allowed. If you would like to use that, that's fine, as long as you're careful. I personally will not, because a lot of students make mistakes and combine it with other notation. Okay, so I will just stick with the 0 with a line through it, the empty set symbol. There's one last idea that we'll talk about here, and it's honestly not something that we use very often in a college algebra class, but any of you who are in a major where you need to go on to statistics or another class, the complement is something that we talk about in there. Okay, so I always introduce it to make sure that you've seen it. If we put a little hash above our set, A prime or B prime or C prime, okay, this means the complement of A. Okay. If you're going to find the complement of a set, then you have to be given a universal set to start with. Okay, that's why I came back and I renamed this U. Your author will give you your U in the problems when you're asked to do some of these things. And what we think of with this universal set, this is the whole universe. Okay, the only numbers that matter to us are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so that's the entire world to us. We know that the set A includes the numbers 1, 2, 3, 5, and 7. So if I want to write down the complement of A, that means I'm going to come over to the universal set, U, and I'm going to mark out everything that's in A. I'm going to mark out 1, 2, 3, 5, and 7, and I'm going to write down everything that's left. Okay. So if I take out 1, 2, and 3, that leaves 4. I take out 5, that leaves 6. I take out 7, that leaves 8, 9, and 10. Okay. Sometimes way back in the olden days, instead of A prime or the complement of A, we would call it not A. So A is 1, 2, 3, 5, and 7. Not A is 4, 6, 8, 9, and 10. So think for a minute at your desk if you want to pause the video for a second and write it down. Think about what the complement of B would be and the complement of C. And again, if you want to pause the video and write those down when you turn it back on, I'm going to write down the answers. So if we take out 2, 4, 6, 8 from B, that leaves us with 1, 5, 7, 9, and 10. If we take out 8, 9, and 10, then that leaves us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to be lazy and do that. So look through the exercises in the book. Again, don't be fooled on the true or false questions because some of the author's questions, they kind of flip-flop the symbol. Stick the wrong one in there where it's the right idea but the wrong official notation. Okay, make sure you can do unions and intersections. You know the difference between joining them together into a big set and just looking at where they overlap. And if you have questions with the complement or anything else, come and see me.